Hey guys, today, as mentioned in previous videos of this series, that we're going to go panel by panel and talk about the various parts that I've collected and I'm still missing, as well as some various details per panel of this particular TARDIS as we go through this. So I'm really excited to share this one. This one is the Fabrication Panel. Probably the most distinguishing feature about the Fabrication Panel is the gears in the middle. And typically I call this one actually the gear panel, and it's pretty sparse, actually, weirdly, in comparison to some of the other ones. It's very minimalist. It doesn't have a lot of parts, but it does have some really unique, specific parts, which I'll go over today with you. There are some things that obviously, as I mentioned, I can't find, but the middle piece, the actual gear piece that's there, all those layers, 100% that's custom made. That's laser cut or CNC milled by Nick Roboto, and really brilliantly as far as I'm concerned. One thing I can't tell 100% is the pieces above it, the actual like turning pieces, the lathe handles, if you will. The actual little piece that's on the top looks like an actual part, but everything else looks kind of fabricated. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm probably gonna fabricate mine just because I haven't found anything like those at all. So I think he completely fabricated those, especially the little one with the ball on each end that goes back and forth. But I can't say for certain. I don't want to say for certain one way or the other unless I hear from Nick whether he customized that himself or not. And if I do get that answer out of him, I will make sure to update my videos as I go along. But for now, I'm going to just assume that entire circle in the middle is completely fabricated. Now in each corner of that panel, there's a couple little things that are a little different depending which what you're looking at. So we're gonna start at the bottom right, just because that's the quickest and easiest one to go with. And that has a lathe handle. That was actually a Myford lathe handle. Most distinguishing piece about this particular thing is the fact that it has the measurements. It has like centimeter measurements or whatnot around the entire edge. This seems to be the exact same piece. Link in the description. Information in the description for these as well. But as far as I can tell, this is the exact part. I'm really excited to have it. I don't think this is going to do anything on my build. I'm going to just make sure I can set it somewhere so I can actually spin it when I want to. But for the most part, it's just going to be as it is. But I'm really happy. It was a pretty good find. I got this a number of years ago. It was one of the first parts I picked up for this, and I'm really glad I did. It's got a nice look to it. It is new. One of the more disappointing new pieces I have, but the one on the build actually looks like it's fairly new as well. So I'm actually pretty excited about this, but there you go. Moving up to the top right corner is a ball crank. And that is interesting because it has one of those parts that it shows up in multiple panels underneath that. It looks kind of like a top hat, which I'll have more information about that in a post video from this one, another video from this one, so you can kind of see what they look like and hopefully you can help me identify them. But underneath that, there is a piece that has, I don't know, it's like a brass greebly of sorts. I don't recognize it. I'll probably fabricate it myself or get it laser cut. But the actual 3-ball ball crank is also something I haven't been able to find. It's approximately about 3 inches. I have seen some here and there on eBay. I'm kind of just waiting for finding a good priced one. Part of the thing about finding all these pieces is some of them are fully functional used pieces that you can still use and use for your lathes and whatnot, and so they can be pretty expensive. I've seen them go up to $75, $100 depending on which piece I'm looking at. So what I have done is I have 3D printed one. I did find some CAD files of actual ones, so this is literally an actual one that's been 3D printed in resin. I'm going to use for now. It's just going to spin. It's not going to really do much, so I did leave the hole in the top, even though the real one doesn't have a hole there. But I figured it would just be kind of a neat thing. Again, non-functional as far as my build's concerned. On the bottom left is a piece I definitely don't know where it's from. So there's actually 2 pieces there. There are 2 handles that are there that are brass. The first one is this one. It's a T-shaped brass handle. It's a safe handle. This one I got a number of years ago. Didn't come with a base on it, so this is the only one I've really identified. You can still kind of find these on eBay and whatnot, and I may have to fabricate a base or find a base of it. But it's definitely a safe handle. The other one also looks like a safe handle, but I haven't been able to find anything like it. I found spherical ones with the handles on the side. I found fist ones with the handles on the side, but not this kind of like flat doorknob looking one. So I may have to make it, whether I find an actual doorknob or something that's kind of similar in that shape and then add in those pegs to the side, we'll see. But for the most part, I don't recognize it. If you do, please let me know, but it's definitely from a safe. What's interesting is because the piece, I'm just gonna quickly jump up to the top left, is also from a safe. So that is kind of interesting. I think it came from 2 pieces. I could be wrong, but I think it's from 2 different things. The first is, it took me a while to find it, but the top does say a Hobbs padlock on it. I have a couple pictures here, you can kind of see it, but it has some texture. It's definitely escutcheon, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's definitely covering a keyhole. And that looks like this. So this is the one I have. So far, it's still attached to this big fireproof warranted safe block. So this is what you just move it to the side and you can get into your keyhole. Now, this was a lucky find online. I haven't ever seen another one. But this piece right here seems to be pretty much exactly what is on the console. So I'm really excited to find that, but the bottom piece isn't, and it's still pretty solid on here. So I'll be removing this from this, and I'll be laser cutting brass pieces for the bottom to replicate that, just because I've seen nothing like that. I haven't seen any keyholes from it. But what's in that keyhole is this. This is a wind-up key. It's actually a Smith's key, which I find incredibly interesting, being the fact that this was Matt Smith's second console, and it's a Smith's key. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it just wedged in there. The keyhole shape on there actually has some notches in it for like a pretty typical standard key, modern key, but they put this in there, which I just thought was neat. So it gives an idea of a winding. I don't know, again, if I'll make it wind. I could. It does have a square peg inside that I can make it so I can spin it if I wanted to. We will see. Might be a good fun idea. But for the most part, again, doesn't do anything. So this panel, aside from the middle, really won't do too much, because even the next piece I'm gonna talk about also doesn't, and it is a slow motion condenser fader. Now, I've mentioned slow motion faders on my last video, and there's a few of them on this entire build, which is kind of interesting, but the vintage style. Now this is really interesting. This is the second one I've ever had for this build. The first one I have sold for the previous build, as mentioned in Ottawa, and they're gonna use that one. But this one I came across that was very similar. It is not the same as far as I can tell, but it's very, very close. One thing to note is it has these little tiny windows on either side that you can see through, and the entire piece underneath does split white and black, like the one in the pictures. And it was kind of interesting because I had to kind of surgery these two together in order to get this exact look. So I'm really excited by it. It has this kind of matte texture here that just gives that look. But yeah, no, it's pretty close. I'm really excited about how close this particular prop is from the actual build. So it's one of my cool pieces. So it's gonna be on there, again, not do anything, because these really don't have anything, I think, like switchers or clicks or anything that can actually do much with it. But for the most part, I'm excited to have these pieces. So this one feels like a much shorter video, but this is all those pieces for the fabrication panel. And if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you recognize any of these pieces that I've mentioned, please let me know. I am, again, open on Instagram and on my Facebook page as well. Both of them are linked below. Message me on here as well if you recognize them. If you come across, a ball crank that's in a really good price range that looks like this, that's about 3 inches, hey, excellent. If you recognize the greebly that's underneath it, excellent. If you think I'm wrong about the actual pieces that spin the gears and you think that they're actually found parts, please let me know, especially if you've seen them. I've seen lots of things that look like them. I've seen things that are really close, but these just, I don't know, something custom feeling about them. And Nick Verbato definitely had the skills to put those together. So it's really hard to tell. This is one of the panels in his behind the scene pictures that I've used a couple of these times in this entire series for reference and for information. There's not too much on this panel, so I don't know what he did about it. But I'm looking forward to actually putting this one together. It should be interesting to get all those gears to put together, make sure they all spin properly, and then go from there. But this is a nice tactile panel that I'll be able to play with, but for the most part, completely for show. Anyway, so there's that panel. Look forward to sharing the other ones with you guys. So keep on subscribing, keep on watching, and we'll see you guys next time.